once again, we got another Marvel movie that took place after the events of Captain America 3, The Civil War. And it features one of the most smallest superheroes of all time, who is really an insect. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes, this is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop97. This is my review for today. And today's review, ladies and dudes, well, my friends, is that time once again for another movie review that I did see in theaters. So for my next movie review is Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it's starting to become one of the most underrated movies that we got so far in the year of 2018, along with The Commuter. And yes, ladies and dudes, I will admit that Ant-Man is truly one of the most underrated Marvel superheroes of all time. A guy who is really darn small, because he needs to shrink so he can be a very small one. So yeah, the Incredible Hulk is not the only one who's very underrated, but also Ant-Man as well. And I guess everybody wants to know about this very underrated sequel that we got so far in the Marvel's universe. Well, let's find that out right now. So anyway, without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my next movie review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And let's head on to the main plot of the story. Well, I'll tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, about the plot of Ant-Man and the Wasp, this is going to be the most hardest one I ever done so far, because the plot is way too hard to explain. And yes, I will admit, it did take place after the events of Captain America 3, The Civil War. And it's all about our dear beloved Ant-Man named Scott. He finally returned home to California in LA, and he wants to reunite with his little girl named Cassidy, aka Peanut, so they could spend time together as father and daughter as quick as they can while he is in a brand new home, and also he is in house arrest, whatever that is. So while he's doing that, Dr. Hanks and his daughter Hope, they're trying to think of something of a brand new plan of going to this unknown dimension that came out of nowhere so they could find their long lost loved one who has been lost in that dimension for the last 30-something years ago while they are together in this unknown laboratory that likes to shrink and becomes like a toy building thing or something. But also, there's some unknown chaos going on, and there's two unknown enemies they need to be aware of. There is one unknown enemy that involves a spoiled, arrogant rich man who cares about money. And the other is this unknown girl named the Ghost, and she's stuck in this very awful curse for a very long time. You know, she can't feel things anymore in her own hands. So she needs to find a cure so she could feel things again and start to become a human being again. And all that stuff. So overall, that's all I could say about the main plot of the story of Ant-Man and Wasp. After all, this is the most hardest one so far for a plot of the story. So anyway, I guess everybody wants to know this, and I'm sure everybody's so darn antsy about it. What the heck do I think about this movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp? Well, to tell you the truth is, I really do enjoy this movie, and I think this movie will fit in quite well for my underrated movie collection. Since I'm a big fan of underrated movies, and underrated movies are my most favorite type of films of all times. You know, the ones that need to be overlooked or some of them are not really popular enough, or sometimes there's some movies that had a strong cult following after many years later, I guess. And I think this film is truly the next underrated one in the underrated movie collection. So, all I could say about this movie is it had a very good storyline for the most part. It has good, likable characters, good cinematography, great special effects, great action scenes, great drama, great score, great comedy moments that came from the Ant-Man's Three Stooges. And yes, this movie does have a nice warm feeling in your heart. And also, we got a cameo appearance from Mr. Stanley, the guy who's responsible for making this Marvel Universe thing happen from so many years ago in the 20th century. Well, if you guys get the picture. So anyway, let's head on to my strongest points and the weakest points of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I will say for the Ant-Man and the Wasp's coolest, strongest points ever for this film is a tie. Just a tie between the fantastic casting and also the special effects. I freaking love the whole entire cast in this whole entire movie. This is one of the best casting I have ever seen in Marvel's history. Truly underrated wise. I like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, aka Scott. I like this Lily lady who played Hope in the Wasp. I love Michael Douglas as Dr. Hanks. And I like Michelle Pfeiffer as Mrs. Dr. Hanks. And I really like those three dudes who play the Ant-Man's Three Stooges. And that cute little girl who played Ant-Man's daughter. I mean, I love the cast from start to finish. And I can't find any single one of these people who did very bad acting for this film. So all of them are good in so many ways. So the first strongest point is the casting. And the second strongest point I love about this film is the special effects. I love every single special effects that happened in this movie. Like where the costumes began to shrink and that building going shrank. And that cool looking dimension that came out of nowhere. That was pretty darn awesome. Yeah. The special effects is pretty darn cool. In so many ways. Hard for me to say about special effects. So I will say the special effects is the second strongest point in the whole entire movie. So yeah, that's all I could say about strongest points for this film, is the great casting and the special effects. And yes, ladies and dudes, I will admit, I only got one main weak point in the movie. And no, I'm not going to talk about the lady who played Ghost. I will say the lady who played Ghost, I think she was okay, but not really the best villain in the whole entire Marvel's universe. I will say she was somewhat of a bad person, but somewhat of a misunderstood person, since I like misunderstood people a lot. Somebody I feel sorry for. So, no, the ghost lady, she's not the main weak point of the movie. I will say my main weak point of the movie for me is truly the dude who is known as the spoiled, arrogant rich man. He reminds me of Stuart St. John all over again from the Taken saga. You know, he's very, very selfish, he's arrogant, he's spoiled, and all he cares about is money, 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 money. And he wants to use his money for Dr. Hanks' lab for some unknown reason. I don't know what it is, but I'm afraid it's something very, very bad. If you know what I mean. That's all I can say about my main weak point of the movie, is that second villain that came from in this film. I know it's not right to put too many villains in one movie, and since that's a major problem for good superhero films here and there, or something that'll be bad. That's all I could say about the strongest points and the weakest points for this movie. And now let's go on to the characters. I will go with the two characters who are truly the best parts about the film for me. Since I love Paul Rudd as our beloved Ant-Man, and I like that Lily lady who played Hope and the Wasp, and our dear beloved Michael Douglas as Mr. Dr. Hanks. But I will go with the two characters who are truly the best ones for me, and they are female-wise. I will go with Cassie, aka Peanut, played by this actress I really don't know of. I freaking love that little girl who played the Ant-Man's daughter. She is so darn cute, so darn sweet, so darn innocent, and full of heart. She's such a sweetheart. And she is truly one of the best parts about the film, and truly one of the main hearts of the story. I mean, she had a very good storyline. She has a great personality, great attitude. She does have a very cute face, and I really love the character development and chemistry, between her and her daddy. It was so darn cute, very adorable, very warm-hearted, and she's just a sweetheart. That was something that will touch my heart always. So I don't have much things to say about Ant-Man's little girl. So Casey, whatever her name is, but I'd rather call her Peanut because she is truly a peanut. She is truly one of the best parts about the film. And my second character I really do care about is Mrs. Dr. Hanks, played by our dear beloved Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer did a really good job on her performance playing the wife and the mother for Dr. Hanks and Hope's. Playing the beloved person that Dr. Hanks and Hope cared about. I mean, she's a very sweet, lovable, kind, and a very most beautiful character we ever seen in Marvel's history. I mean, she had a very good storyline. She has a great personality and attitude. She looks so beautiful in so many ways. Well, the most beautiful part about her is her white hair. She looks so darn beautiful with white hair. And I really love the character development and chemistry that she had with Dr. Hanks and Hope. It was so darn touching, so darn beautiful. And it'll give you a nice warm feeling deep inside your heart. It's really hard for me to say about this middle-aged lady. And no wonder she and Michael Douglas were a perfect match in a film. I mean, they were such a perfect pair. Even when their face looks pretty darn lovely in so many ways. It's pitch perfect, I guess. So that's all I could say about Michelle Pfeiffer's character as Mrs. Dr. Hanks. And now, ladies and dudes, here we go, my final thoughts of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Overall, Ant-Man and the Wasp is a pretty darn good movie, and yet one of the most underrated films that we got so far in the year 2018. I will say the storyline is pretty good for the most part. The characters were pretty darn likable, and I love the comedy moments, the drama moments, the action scenes, and the score, the cinematography, and the fantastic casting. They have the best casting ever in Marvel's history for the underrated wise. So for my rating for this movie, I decided to give it a 9 out of 10. This is a pretty darn good movie to watch. So hurry up and see this movie before you see another movie that's coming out in this summer. So that is it, ladies and dudes. That's my whole entire movie review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And this is going to be my most hardest movie review I did so far in the year 2018. And tell me, ladies and dudes, what is your most favorite Marvel movie of all time that took place after the events of Captain America 3: The Civil War? Well, whichever it is, leave a comment there, let me know. And my most favorite movie that took place after the events of Captain America 3: The Civil War for me is truly Spider-Man Homecoming. Because that movie is so darn well done. It was sharp, fast-paced, and there's too many hidden Easter eggs to be found in that movie. If you know what I mean. So, that's my whole entire movie review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And join me next time for my next movie review I gotta see in theaters is Christopher Robin. And I can't wait to see a cool looking live action movie that took place after the events from the Winnie the Pooh franchise days. Well, you guys get the picture. So anyway, be prepared for that next movie review to come in the theater. And I will see you guys later, and sayonara.